Hey, cherry pie, what's up? I've never seen this before and I've never tasted this before, so I'll check this one out today. It's a culture detective here investigating your favorite albums, and today I'm going to be doing an album review. I know it's a little late, and lately I've been busy doing homework, socializing with people, and actually living a life. This is why lately I didn't do a lot of album reviews or movie reviews. But anyways, today we'll be doing an album review of the latest Aurora album, The Gods We Can Touch. Aurora is a Norwegian art pop and electropop singer-songwriter, and this is her third album, and this is the first time I've ever talked about her music on this channel. I believe I may or may not have talked about one of her singles in one of my Things videos, like 3-4 years ago, but this is the first time I'm reviewing an album from her. And yeah, originally I really didn't want to review this album because or I didn't really want to check out this album because I never really had high expectations for Aurora's music. She had never really wowed me or impressed me or anything. I mean, she has talent, don't get me wrong, and some of her songs are pretty fantastical and interesting sounding, but overall I feel like she wears her influences on her sleeves a little bit too much while still watering them down to a very cliche and trite level. And unfortunately, I have to say that this is basically the album in a nutshell. Now, this album, The Gods We Can Touch, have an awesome album cover, probably the best album cover I've seen this year so far. Yes. And another thing I can say is that this album is very versatile. I mean, Aurora tries all sorts of different sounds. But that's also kind of the issue here. Aurora never really develops her own style, and instead of sticking to one sound and one style, she sort of takes a little bit of this, takes a little bit of that, and then jumble them all together, watering them down into something kind of mediocre. Now, after the very atmospheric intro track, we have Everything Matters, which is an orchestral art pop track with folk guitars, sequenced beats, and vocal layers that are very soft and whispery and breathy a la Billie Eilish. While it does start out very interesting, it gets stale quite fast, and it's not very creative, it's kind of trite. And then we have the track Giving In to the Love, which is a blissful Euro pop song with soft, watery keyboards, banging drums, echoey instrumentals, and big choruses a la churches. Yeah. Now, the next track is Cure for Me, which is, in my opinion, one of the 3 tracks on the album that I legitimately enjoy. This is basically Aurora doing a moody dance pop song. It is very catchy and it is fun, and it still has the weird, fantastical production. And on this track, Aurora doesn't try anything all that ambitious or dramatic, and I think that's one of the reasons why this track just stands out to me. Even though the chorus is really catchy, I can't help but but hear Antonio Carlos Jobim's Brazil on this track, like isn't that just Brazil off of Stoneflower? But it's whatever. It sounds good. It's fine. And then next up we have the track You Keep Me Crawling, which is a track similar to Exist, Giving In to the Love. This track is another Europop track that's really standard. It sticks to a very trite formula, and it kind of sounds like a more modern version of ABBA. And then afterwards we have Exist for Love, which is a very cliche ballad with sappy strings and a very dramatic beat. It's just, more of the same. And then we have the track Heathens, where Aurora basically becomes a more fantastical version of like Lana Del Rey. And then afterwards, that is followed with The Innocent, which is probably my favorite track off of the entire album. It is the catchiest track, in my opinion. I love the jaunty, glitchy pianos. I love the Scandinavian flavors on this track. And the chords are very blissful, very bright, and overall this is a very, very fun song. And a little bit later, we have A Temporary High, where Aurora does a little bit of, the 80s flavor, a little bit of new wave style, The guitars are really dramatic and the chorus is really big, which I'm not a big fan of, but it still works. It's still very catchy. And in between these two tracks, we have Exhale, Inhale, which is a really washed out new wave pop track that doesn't have much of a structure. It's just kind of hanging there, kind of dry. Finally, we have the last leg of the album. Artemis is a track that sounds like it came straight out of a high budget Hollywood movie about Sicily being absolutely destroyed, with the Mediterranean chords and the exotic accordions and faint, prickly, finger picked guitars. And then we have Blood in the Wine, which is another really dramatic and theatrical pop song with the reverby, banging drums. It's not very great. Oh, I completely forgot to mention A Dangerous Thing after a temporary high with the driving muddy drums and reverby guitars. Right off the bat, it sounds like if Adele makes country music. I don't know why, but it's very country and it's kinda Adele. And then the last two tracks are pretty average and lackluster. This Could Be a Dream is a tiny, sweet little art pop song with a sequenced beat, and then the album ends off with A Little Place Called the Moon, which is a spacey folk ballad with beats that are so extremely faint you really have to turn up the volume in order to hear slight snippets of beats in the back. And the track just kind of sounds like a fancy Bon Iver or something. So yeah, as much as I would have loved to enjoy this album, I do think that Aurora still has a long way to go, and she still has to develop a style, so I'm looking forward to that. And I guess Aurora is still quite young when it comes to being a musical artist. I mean, I'm younger than her by like 6 years, but only 6 years, and that's saying a lot. So I'm just kidding. But yeah, unfortunately, I'm not a big fan of this album. My favorite track here is The Innocent, and my least favorite is Exhale, Inhale. I'm giving Aurora's The Gods We Can Touch a decent 6 out of 10. So, have you listened to this new Aurora album? For 1 to 10, much is rate it, like it, and subscribe. You one more, and thanks for watching. Man, I have so many albums to review. So obviously, of course, without a doubt, Black Country New Roads' new album. We have Kim Ya Ya, I would like to talk about that. We have Silvana Estrada, and is Swans releasing an album this month? I think they are. And then there's a King Giz album right around the corner. There's a Big Thief. There's a Spoon album. So yeah, that's a lot.